Good evening, everybody. Hope everybody is well. We are back, and I hope everyone is having a brilliant start to the week, guys. I always say the same thing at the start of every breakdown, guys, and you aren't going to have to get used to that as we progress through towards the platform. Now, I am on top of the world at the moment, guys. I have been, as we say, last couple of weeks, really going in on the content, guys. I literally have, I think I'm about 80 curriculum lessons deep, guys, and it's really interesting for me at the moment because I feel like I've finally got everything, or not everything yet, because ultimately, guys, when you guys are onboarded onto the platform, there's going to be things that you literally are going to struggle with. And what my mission is to do, and I've vowed to myself because I hold a lot of integrity when I go ahead and actually make something like this, where you guys are going to be learning and struggling because it's not easy, guys. I'm never going to be one of these Instagram gurus who says, "Oh, you can do this, you can do that, you can do this," and it's going to take you a week, and it's going to be the £500 to £500,000 week challenge or whatever, guys. Look, I am here to serve you guys in a way that benefits you and that makes you move forward into either a trader or an investor. Now, there is things in the platform that will make you really get to the bottom of who you are as a person. And I am quite a deep person as a whole. I like to delve quite deep into things, right? And this is why, I've had my team in India working night and day to put various different challenges, various different quizzes together, various different spreadsheets that can make you guys understand yourself, who you are as a person, where you fit into the market. And ultimately, then you can make better based decisions on how you are going to fit in, what your situation is, where you are as a person, whether you've got a full-time job, whether that's going to quite work with day trading, or whether you can simply make more money with less stress by just investing in such an emerging market, guys. We are the early adopters, and we are the people who ultimately, if we have a foot in the game in 5-10 years time, we'll probably be driving around in helicopters, guys. Now, I'm not going to put it this way, we're in a good position, right? I'm not going to start selling dreams just yet until we've all been in a position where we're learning, and we're all looking at things in a way that we can understand them, right? And this is why I have vowed again to have weekly Q&A sessions with the community, right? Events every single month, so we can really build up this community, and you guys can be the ambassadors, right? I want you guys to be the Planet Crypto ambassadors. There was a bit of confusion around the whole, let's say, branding of the Investment Chef, which, just to make it clear, let's clarify it. Just I developed the name as the Investment Chef after having multiple managements of portfolios of investments, right? And this was across all industries: crypto, stocks, equities, all precious metals, indices, all that good stuff. And I developed that name about a year ago now, right? But on a bigger level, when I started to see the demand from you guys, to the hunger to actually start to want to go ahead and start to learn what I do on a day-to-day, weekly basis, it was almost like, well, like, this is going to be absolutely massive. And I can say to you right now, guys, that we are in a good position, and I'm excited for what we are building together. So again, what I'm going to say is I am learning day to day around, again, putting a business like this together, or putting an ecosystem. I don't like calling it a business, guys. On so many different times I've said this, but it's an ecosystem. It's for you guys to grow, you guys to learn, to be supported in what you want to do, to ultimately find yourself and find your place within the market as a whole, guys. But enough of that. Shall we crack on? Yeah. Right, cool. Should we have a look at Bitcoin for today? Now, my charts, I purposely leave these lines in, guys. Now, it might actually look like it's tiny bit, let's say, full, right? But there's a lot of method behind this madness, right? And let me just explain to everyone, the new people, hello, hope you're all well. Let me explain what we're talking about here. And I do apologize if the people around here are getting a bit, let's say, fed up of me breaking down what I've brought down in previous lessons. But I've got to go ahead and actually give people a view for the guys that are new also. And do invite your friends if you think they will benefit from this, because we are early in the, let's say, cycle as well, and there's a lot to be learned. So what we can see is we've got this long-term wedge, right, guys, or long-term apex as a whole, and price has been moving in and out of here. Anyone can see that price has been respecting here, and it's been coiling in, right? We've had big volume, big moves, and ever since 2019 we've had smaller moves, right? The price has still been accepting what is going on here. Now let's just move down. Now these white lines as a whole, these are what we call weekly levels, guys. Now daily levels. So the weekly levels are the orange ones here and the purple ones here are the monthly levels. Now let me just explain how this works, guys. Now if I just dissect this, now if you go through the free course that is also on the Telegram, then you will understand this. What we are looking for, guys, is with these monthly levels, because we are now on monthly time frame, so every single one of these candles represents 1 month, and as you move down in time frames, weekly, every single one represents a week, right? And what we are looking is we're looking for key areas where the price has been stopped from moving higher or stopped from moving lower, right? And what we do is we actually identify these and we put into the chart these lines to give us an idea of where the price has been respected in the, let's say, prior historic data in the past, right? So I've got a purple line here which represents a monthly level, right? Because we've got a double top here, we've got two candle closures just here where we've failed to move above. We have got to the all-time highs just up here, which was the all-time high in December of 2017, but we had two ultimate closures just here. Then we got a reversal, but then we moved back down, and what we can see is the price only moved as far as this purple line here. So again, we've got a level of support, guys. Now there is a lesson on support and resistance and how, let's say, price works in the free course in the Telegram. Go check it out, guys. Right? It'll give you an idea of what I'm talking about. And then what we do is we move down the, let's say, time frames as a whole, right? And we go down and we start to say, okay, right, let's refine these. And what we do is, so I've refined these just to make, let's say, a bit more applicable to what we can see with regards to the price. And then what we do is we start to put in some weekly levels. Now the weekly levels are what we can see that is significantly holding up the price with regards to the weekly candles. So what we can see is we've got a weekly level here which is in yellow, right? So we can see that we've had a level of support here, it's held it up. But then what we've had is it's been so key that we've had actual levels of resistance just here. And again, the same thing here, level of resistance was previous support. Now again, talking about support and resistance, we do say that previous resistance turns into support, right? So we had resistance here, we couldn't get through, we broke through, we come back down, and we actually fell through, but we came back up, and then we found support just up here. So that's why it's a key level, right? And I don't want to go into a support and resistance level because there is a full level of lesson on that, as I'm saying. But again, these are where we were getting these, breaking down the market structure, right? Because we need to understand where the price is respecting. So what we look at as traders and as investors, we look at because markets are driven by emotion, right? They're driven by people who are fearful or greedy. So we need to understand, according to prior historic data, where price is either getting held up, for example here, or where it's getting held down, for example here. And what we can see is these price and these are the key levels, should I say, they actually get respected on the way up. So if you go up here, what you can see is we've had a break up to the upside. We've had resistance here because it's a key level just here. We've broken back down, and you can see this level here, which is a daily level, right? And that's held the price up. So what we can see there, right, and this is where it gets really interesting because we can start to make trading decisions just off support and resistance, right? So what you can see here is we could now look at this and say, right, we are getting held up, and the next time that we go up to here, we're either going to break through and come back down, which is exactly what we did, and hold as support, because like I said, resistance, which is holding the price down, often when you break through, it turns to support, which is exactly what it did. So what could we have done here, guys? Now this is, and again, a very, very simple way of dissecting and starting to be profitable. And the strategy that I teach on the curriculum, it shows us how to use to identify multi-market trend line application as a whole, or let's just say support and resistance, right? And what we can do is we can look at support and resistance, and then we can actually, again, make trades based off that. So we could have traded this just here by simply realizing that this was resistance, it was previous support, previous resistance just here. We broke through it, and now knowing that resistance usually turns into support, right? We could have made a trade when we hit this support line here, and we'd have been off. And how much? I mean, it depends whether you're trading or investing, but if we'd have known that this was the bottom line of support, again, we've got a 55% increase to the upside. Or what we could have had is if we'd have made a simple trade, again, using the key levels. So again, we realize that this is resistance. What we could have done is we could have put in a trade here, boom, up to this next level of resistance just here. And even though the price went higher, we still would have made 11%. Or what we could have done, there's another, let's say, advanced technique where you get to this level and you start to think, right, okay, I'm in profit now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my stop loss, which a stop loss, guys, just to confirm for the people who don't necessarily are very new to this, a stop loss is where you predetermine when you make a trade, for example, if I put a trade in here expecting it to go to the upside, I will put a stop loss in probably just around here below this previous wick, just so you can cut your losses. Let's just say if you go away from the screen and the price drops massively all the way down to here, what that will do is the stop loss will bring you out of the trade, right? It's pretty simple. But what we can do is, if we see this trade is testing to the upside, and what we can see is we broke through here, and this wick here, it pretty much cock on touched this level just here. And this is showing how the price is, again, respecting it, because we wicked up to here, and we divvied in around here, and we took a while to actually come ahead and break through. Once we broke through quite massively. And we broke through this level, which was previous resistance, again, previous support and resistance just here, and we come back down, we tested it as support, guys, right? Very, very simple stuff. But what we can do is we can bring the stop loss up. We can continue bringing it up. So as the price moves up, our stop loss goes up. Our stop loss is then in profit. If the price decides to go down, we'll get shut out of the trade with a profit. That's how to successfully manage trades, guys, and manage and let winners win. But I've just gone into a full-on lesson here. But let's analyze where we are currently, right? So it has been a rather bullish morning and day today, I must say. I mean, what we can see just here is, again, we can see, so price has been making what we call, because price moves in a very mechanical way, right? It has lower highs in the downtrend, all right? So lower high, lower high, lower high, and lower lows, right? And that's what we've been seeing. And we've continuously been seeing that. But what we've seen here is the reason why, again, as I've been mentioning in previous levels, and this is why these levels and trend lines are so important, because, again, it's emotions, guys. People are all looking for the same thing pretty much, unless you're institutions in which you're looking to go ahead and actually catch the retail traders out. So what we can see here, guys, is basically we are trying to now create what we call a higher high, right? And then almost a higher low as well. But the price, because basically if you go ahead and create a higher high, right, that would indicate that the trend is reversing. Now the trend is a downtrend. What we can see, downtrend, 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 lower high, lower high, lower high. Now we say lower, 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 lower. Now what we can see is this price is trying to break out of this trend line here, and it's trying to create a higher high and then perhaps a higher low as well, which would indicate, guys, that we would be breaking out and we would be creating an uptrend. Now, guys, there's a lot of, again, theories around how you can trade based on a break of a trend line, which a lot of people, if we do happen to break this, I am sure we will come back up and test this weekly level just here. But I do think that the bears, the guys who are selling, will actually hold this price down, which is what you can see here. He's trying to break a higher high, but this previous high, which is here, right, which is also a lower high, is stopping it from doing so. So if we get absolutely slammed down here, then what we can see is that we've been looking at creating another lower high, which I think is the most likely thing to happen considering the trend, right? But also, if we break out, then anything can happen. We could come back up and test these levels just up here. So, guys, that is my view. What I think is going to happen, I think we're going to get a rejection just here. I probably will, not financial advice, but I am probably going to be putting in a short order just here. And it will look something like this, guys. Okay? So, this is what it's going to look like. So, I take into account, so this is my target zone. This is a weekly level here, so price will respect this. We've had the target zone. We've wicked into this target zone a few times, but we've not confirmed it as almost a range bound zone. So we've been range bound in here, right? So as a range bound would in essence be sideways movement or levels of accumulation and distribution, which I will get onto as we progress throughout the learning, right? But what we can see is my short position will look something like this, and I'm waiting for this trade. Like I said in the past, guys, it's all about patience, right? You are waiting for trade to come to you. And looking at that, guys, it looks like a pretty good trade. It looks like something that we are very unlikely going to go ahead and actually break this trend line here. So that would tell me that what is going to happen. And if I move down to 1 hour, we can probably already see it happening. There we go. So what we can see is we can see we've had a big rejection. We may come back up and test this line just again. But I ultimately think what will happen is we're going to continue moving down to the target zone just here. In which case, it is a good short opportunity, guys. Not financial advice, but there you have my thoughts for Bitcoin, guys. So moving on to XRP. Now, XRP's had a bit of a move up today. And it's interesting. A very large move up, should I say. So what can we see here? So XRP, let's pull this line over just here. This shows how important these levels are, right? So we can see we've tried to move up according to this level just here, where we've had previous wick. Price respects these levels, guys. This is such a key level for XRP. Such a key level. We've had previous levels where we've tried to get past it, but we've failed. We've broken past it. We've come back up. We've got a confirmation of a break to the downside, right? And this is all something else. So we've come back up, we've tested it, and then we've absolutely crumbled, guys, right down to 16 cents. We've come back up, and this has played out just again, guys. We are failing to get past this level, and we have seen a big rejection just up here, which looks like, ultimately, like what could be forming as, again, it's just a rejection, guys. I think it's a double top, but no, it's just a rejection, and what we can see is it's going to, looking like it's probably going to come up, back up and test this, but to me now it looks like we've got confirmation of rejection and we are going to be moving to the downside. So my thoughts for XRP, guys, let me spell this out to you what I think is going to happen, right? So my thoughts is now we are going to probably trade within this range for a while, so we'll leave that in there. Obviously my target range, I've put it in a while ago, is around here. So we can see that we've had a move up to the upside. It's nothing untoward because we have seen the rejection just there. And again, I think what we are going to do is range bound in here for a while and then ultimately break down to the downside in accordance with the rest of the market. Now, I'm going to explain further why I believe that the market is going to continue going down, guys. Let's move on to Ethereum. So Ethereum's seen a move up. And look at this. Look, so let's just break this down, guys. This is unbelievable. So again, we've had this trend line drawn for a while. 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch rejection, guys. So what can we see? We can see that these lines that I've had in for weeks on end are absolutely beautiful and they are prices respected. Now, if we do break above this level just here, I will expect us to come up to the 252 level. But what it looks like, guys, I think we are going to come back down and test this previous level of support as we've seen just here. And here it is a level that is very, very key. If we do break below that, then we'll be expecting to crumble back down to around the 217 levels. But we've seen quite an update with the rise of the market now, and I'll show you the reason why, guys. But let's just continue. So what can we see? Again, engine long-term pick for me, range bound. It is trading within this range, a scalper's dream. But again, I would not recommend really going ahead and scalping at the, let's say, the smaller coins as a whole. Chainlink. So Chainlink has started to move to the upside in parabolic weights now at its all-time highs. So I do think that is going to be, again, one for the future, and we've been talking about it for a while. It's got a very, very good use case and a lot of people are backing it. So it's something that is very, very interesting, guys. So what else can we see? What else can we see? So let's move on to stocks right now, guys. So BP, again, range bound. It's been moving sideways within this range for a while. Nothing much has happened with that just today. Now, again, let's move on to Tilray, guys. So as I have said in previous, what we can see is we've seen a correction, but we've failed to make, again, we've continued lower high, lower high, lower high. We are continuing, and anyone who is looking at this in emotional state think, oh my God, this is going to the moon. But ultimately, guys, we have failed to create a lower high. And what that tells me is that we are going to continue in this downtrend, right? Excuse my poorly drawn line. So until we break to the upside of this downtrend, my bets with Tilray are that we are going to continue to the downside and pretty much into this liquidity zone here, which my orders are set around about here. Okay, so again on the platform, guys, these things that I've been calling for months about what they've been doing. Again, speaking about Chainlink, about the upside potential of Chainlink, and we've seen it's moved up 8% today, guys. These are the things that I'll be giving everyone insights into and investment tips, because ultimately my team do the research, I do the research, and we can provide that to you so you can make the investment decisions based on if you want to do that. Okay, so let's move on. So what can we see here, guys? So I left this in a while ago, right? I left this in a while ago for it was the last market breakdown we did, and let me get rid of some of this crap. But what we can see is that, in fact, let's leave it in. We can see that we are actually perfectly, even though this was crappily drawn, we can see that we actually perfectly tested the bottom of here, come back up, and we're testing. Look at that. So I drew this out in. It was very, very poorly drawn, but we tested it perfectly. Wick there, right? So again, guys, you can see that this stuff works, and you can see how we've expected. So I'm going to let's just make this a bit longer. And what I expect to happen, we'll come back down, we'll test the bottom of this, forming a higher low, sorry. So again, let me mention why. So we're in an uptrend currently. Obviously, I do think that the sort of wider term, we are going to see a big move to the downside. We can see again, higher low, and ultimately coming up and forming another higher low. I expected it to be here, but now I expect we're going to come back down and make it here, right? God, my charts are not looking good. And I've got to leave them in because we've been analysing for a few weeks. But even still, what we can see is prices respecting what we was talking about, and we have come back up and tested this line just here perfectly, which is beautiful. And I expect, again, we've seen a rejection. I expected it to come back down and form a higher low and come back into this level just here and probably continue to the upside unless we see a big market decline, which I do expect. So guys, shall we crack on to the DJI? Now, what can we see, guys? So again, I know we saw that we had this head and shoulders formation. We've come back up into this liquidity zone. We've now come up and retested this previous support, which was previous support. We've come back up and testing it as resistance. I am waiting, guys. I'm waiting for the sniper entry. Again, patience to see when we come back up, test this properly, and we're going to absolutely crumble, in my opinion, guys. The world is in a shambles. I don't understand how we are continuing to go up and even testing for a higher high with regards to the DJI. It makes no sense to me. So we are going to come down at some point, in my honest opinion. In which case, that will have a knock-on effect with stocks, with crypto, right? So it's a case of just being waiting, being patient, understanding. Again, we are doing exactly what we've seen with a couple of cryptos. We are failing to get past this level just here. I do imagine we will see a big rejection and move to the downside over the coming months, guys. So I'm going to wrap it up here. I think there's a lot that I've given there tonight for people to sort of go off. And I've tried to go for a few bits of feedback I've had about, you know, my teaching style. I wanted to go through and break down how I make the assumptions that I do, right? So again, a head and shoulders is a bearish formation. Now, usually what you have is after a break of a trend line, which was previous support, you come back up and you test it, right? So you have a big move out, you test it, and that's when we're looking for a confirmation of a break to the downside, guys. So what I'm doing simply now is, obviously, I've got a short position geared up, ready to press the button. But what I'm doing here is I'm not taking this trade until I see confirmation of a complete rejection, because what I can see currently here is a bit of an uptrend forming, right? So until that uptrend breaks, which what we could see right here, if I put this in here, we could be seeing what looks like an ascending wedge, guys. Now, what is an ascending wedge? An ascending wedge is a bearish pattern. So price will coil in here, possibly come up to here, in which case I would then move my entry up towards here, pull my thing down just to about here, and put my take profit down to about here, and then again wait out for the break of this trend line, and boom, we will go down the toilet, right? So this is how you can then start to plan and be like, you know, waiting like a viper for your opportunity. Now, what we'll do is, again, on Thursday, we'll look at this trend line just again, and we'll see whether we broke out to the downside of it. Because if we did, then more than likely we are going to see a retest of this line just here, which is another 25,000 points mark. And then if we do break through there, again, we've got a 1, a 2, a 3 touch. We do break through that, then we are going down the toilet, guys. So, again, going to wrap it up here. Hopefully that's been of value to everyone. I am really, really excited about the content that has been going and the work and the time that's been going in to all of the platform bits, guys. And I've been speaking to a lot of experts this week, running the ideas, the content by them, showing them what the platform is going to look like. And to be quite honest with you guys, there's nothing like that out in the space. And we are coming for absolutely everything. And I want you guys to eat with me, eat with my team, and ultimately, guys, I want you guys to be learning in a way that you can serve yourself at a greater purpose in the future, and also come and join the team in the future, perhaps as well, if you guys so wish to do that and be part of a trading community and be trading on the floor as a whole with myself. So, guys, I hope everyone has a brilliant rest of the week. I'm going to wrap it up here, guys. I'll catch everyone in the next one. Peace.